All right, we are recording. All right, so real quick, guys, I know there's only a couple of you guys on right now. There should be more people hopefully hopping on soon. If not, it is recorded so they can watch later. But I just wanted to simply be able to show you guys what I'm looking at for tonight and what I'll be looking at for next week as well. I'm simply just off support resistance and major areas in the market, meaning reversals or continuations. All right, so what I like to use, I went over this a little bit on the last training with Jay for our Sunday night call. But what I like to do is I like to go to the day chart. All right, let's go here. Zoom in real quick. All right, so let's get rid of this real quick. We'll just leave that there for a sec. All right, so on this day chart, pretty much all I'm looking for is my major and minor quarter points. So the major and minor quarter points, we're going to type them up real quick. So major quarter points, and then I'll abbreviate everything else underneath. We'll actually do it this way. All right, so we're going to put this right here. We'll make it a little larger so everyone can see it. Space these out. Okay, so we're going to put this right here. Okay, so every 1,000 pips is what's called a major quarter point, and every 250 pips in between those 1,000 is minor quarter points. All right, so I'm going to go ahead meet up lunch real quick. Okay, cool. So real quick, all I'll do is I'll simply go to the market and we'll zoom out real quick so you guys can see it. You may have to go the week. Okay, so we're just gonna zoom out real quick and we'll show you this. Okay, so I got a major quarter point down here. As you can see, it's, oops. As you can see, the coordinates for the major quarter point, they actually moved this, it's gotta be 0, 0. Like this. Okay, so we got a major quarter point at 1.700 and then another major quarter point at 1.80. How I found that was you don't ever count the last number because that's a pipette and it takes 10 pipettes to make a full pip, right? So every 1,000 pips, we'll obviously check this real quick just to double check because this is how I always find it is I just go by even number and then I'll place another one and then I'll just check, is it 1,000 pips? Boom, it's 1,000 pips. We're good to go. Okay, so now you got your both your majors, and now you're looking for your minor quarter points in between those majors. Now with those minor quarter points, all you're going to do is count every 250 pips. Okay, so this was 1.700 for your major. So now 250 pips from that would be 1.7 what? 250, right? So now you got 250, obviously minus 250 minus 0 is 250, so you got 250 pips, right? Then you're adding 250 pips from that 7,250, and now you have 7,500, right? Same thing here. Now it's 750. So obviously it's pretty easy to find your minor and major quarter points. Once you have done that and found those areas, all I'll simply do after that is we'll take one trend line and we're just going to put it. Okay. Now we're going to zoom in real quick, see if that's a good trend line. Okay, so now we're going to highlight our areas. Where did it hit? Okay, you got your areas right here. You got your area right here. And type in the chat if you guys got any questions, and also if you can't hear me because I am outside. It's really nice out today, so I figured I'd just do the call outside. So we got our areas right here where it all hit. Now, your other areas, obviously it broke, right? But what did it do? When it broke, it came back up through this trend line. So obviously this trend wasn't fully finished yet, right? But then it broke again, came back up, and then it tested and closed right below not only the QP minor, but that QP minor is also what? It's also resistance. All these areas, as major and minor areas, are all places where the market has bounced. Bounced over here, bounced here, bounced here. Okay, this one down here, bounced, bounced, bounced. Okay, so they're just your major areas of support and resistance, your big moves, right? So you're either going to see a break and a continuation, whether it be to the downside or the upside, or you're going to see a major reversal area at that point. Okay, so now all you got to do is wait on your confirmations when it gets close to that area. So this is all I'll do. I'll mark up my major and minors, and then I'll go to the smaller time frames, and that's when I'll mark up your other support resistance, because there's obviously going to be areas where it's going to bounce in between those big pips of 250 or 1,000 pips, right? So that's where you'll be able to catch like this right here where it retested. You would have been able to catch that on the hour, and I'll show you that in a sec. But obviously this is areas where it just retested, right? And then it broke, closed below, and this would have been your entry at this point right here. Okay, we'll make that one green. That would have been your entry. And on your entry, you had your confirmations. You got in your first candle just for, because it's a day chart, remember, just for your first candle alone, you caught 193 pips. Now, being a day chart, there obviously was retracement in that, but you had zero drawdown, right? Right when this pulled back and closed underneath, it gave you all your confirmation you needed. You sold, and now you have a risk-free trade after this day, right? You already took your profits, though. You're good to go. Now all you're doing is you're waiting for this to come down here and break again. Okay, this is what I want to show you right here, though. We're going to go ahead and delete this trend line. Okay, actually, we'll just delete these circles and we'll keep the trend line. We're going to go with a smaller time frame. Okay, now, this right here is obviously where it came back up, retested, broke, came back up, retested, but it broke and closed below. Okay, that was your entry, remember. So since that was your entry, and let's say you missed it, see how you had zero drawdown, by the way, these candles just kept tanking. So obviously one of these candles was probably news, and then the next candle, it just kept tanking for those 4 hours. So all I want to see next is I just want to see it break this area down here. And we'll put another line right here just to surround the box. Beautiful. Okay. I like to do that because I always do it at the top of the wicks. So technically it should be like right here. Move this up a little bit, right there, and right there. Okay. So I always like to do it at the top of the wicks and the bottom of the candles, right? So you have that whole area where it could bounce in, and then you're looking for your close above and your retest, or your close below and your retest. Those are your confirmations you're looking for to be able to get in. Okay. Now, all I want to show you real quick, we're going to delete this trend line so you guys don't get confused. Okay, now I want to show you why I got this area as our next entry. Okay, we're gonna put a circle right there for our next entry. Okay, this is the entry I'm looking for tonight, but we gotta be careful because it is Thursday going into Friday, so the markets aren't gonna move too much, but they do move. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna put this right about there. Okay, so we have our new trend. Okay, we're still on an uptrend, but we had to draw a new trend line because this is the 4 hour, not the day. So it's not going to follow the same area necessarily. Okay, so we drew a new trend line. We're waiting for this to do what? Do exactly what it did up here, where it broke below and then it retested both the trend line and this zone. Okay, this may not be a major area or a minor quarter point, but it is a support and resistance. Well, support becoming a resistance if it retests here and closes below. Okay, so when that retests as a resistance and retests below this trend line, I will be looking for a sell. Okay, and now what will happen is that you'll see that where it closed up here mattered because it's going to what? It's going to finish down here at this next area, right? This next 250 pip area. Okay, now this 250 pip area, we'll have a take profit before this, and then we'll have one after. Okay, we're probably going to have one take profit around probably this area right here, just to be safe in case it wicks there again, like it did here. And then we'll have another take profit down here. Okay, why won't we have another one below? One, because it's going into Friday, and two, we don't want to be greedy because remember, this is a major area. So this could easily come back into the uptrend since we're going against the downtrend. This could easily go back into the trend because this is the 1,000 pip area. This even number is always what the market is looking for. Okay? The market always seems to reverse or break and cause a dramatic fall, right, to this major area. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this retest. We'll call the sell, and then we'll simply have a tight stop loss right here. We'll do short. Okay, we're going to bring this down. And this here. We'll have it about right there. Okay, so we'll have about a 30, 31 pip stop loss when we get in this trade, but our reward is going to be around 122 pips. Okay, so you get 122 pip reward, but you're only risking 30 pips. Good risk reward, good confirmations if it does close below, which I see it breaking right here, but it could bounce off this and go up. So that's why we got to wait for our break, right? So you're going to wait for your break, wait for your retest, confirmed. Then we get in this trade and we ride it down to take profit 1 and take profit 2. And your take profit 1 is still right here. You're still looking at 70 pips. Okay, so your risk reward is still over 2 to 1, which is really, really good. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So this is one of the pairs that I'm looking at tonight. Another confirmation that I'm using is this right here. Okay, this is Euro NZD on the scanner. A Gartley pattern is one of the strongest patterns and most accurate patterns on the harmonic scanner and the patterns itself. Okay, so I'm watching this extremely close. And this is actually where you could have gotten in up here, where we drew up our trend line. Excuse me. Where it retested below, you could have got in, had zero drawdown, and you would have been up around 192 pips. Okay. So on this, even though we missed this, that's why we're waiting on a retest, and then it's going to retest right here below this take profit 1 area, and we'll ride it right down to take profit 2. And maybe even 3, okay? But what I like to see is that the take profit 2, or take profit 2 is right below that major quarter point, right? So we'll already be out before it even hits this take profit 2 in case it bounces up, Okay, so we'll be better safe than sorry. We'll already secure the bag. We'll already be good to go. But this is another confirmation that I use to make sure that we're getting into the right trades. And then our risk reward is still going to be very, very nice. Okay, so it's only gotten to take profit 1. We're looking to go to take profit 2, but we're going to take profit a little bit before that just to be safe. Okay, another pair that I'm looking at is gold. Okay, I know Patrick's in here. Yep, Patrick's in here looking at gold too. So this is a pair that Joe had actually talked to me about today and talked to Jay about. But he had talked about how he's been scalping gold to the downside for a while now, right? And so I happened to look at it today and I was like, okay, well, I want to find my major and minor quarter points again, and we'll see what happens, right? We'll draw up our trend line right after that. So I actually marked up this quarter point major and minors. This one's a little trickier than others, but you just got to realize that with 1,000 pips on gold, is a lot more than, or it takes a lot less to get 1,000 pips on gold than it does for another major currency pair. Okay, so on here, your major is going to be 1,300, and then your other major is 1,400. Okay, how did I get that? Because you don't count, or you count every pip on this one. Okay, so you're counting every pip on gold. That's the difference. Is there's no pipette. Okay, it's not technically, to me, it's not technically pips because there's no pipette or anything else. But with gold, it's just 1,300 and 1,400. So now that you have your major areas, we'll zoom this out real quick so you can see that other major area. Okay, you got your major area. We're going to double check to make sure that this is 1,000 pips. Okay, beautiful. We're near that 1,000 pip area. I just marked it up a little weird, but it's fine. Okay, we got our 1,000 pips. Now we're looking for our 250 pips in between each area, right? So how did I find that? Well, we're in the 1,300s. So now all we're doing is 1,300 plus 250. That's your 250 right there, right? Now you're doing 500, right? But remember, there's a period in between because gold's different. Then you got your 750s, same as the other pairs, and then your 1,400s. So then you're good, right? I marked up 2 more minors below the 1,300 just because that way we can look for our retest areas, right? If we miss this trade and it drops too fast, we can still catch our areas because if it breaks this minor and retest, it's going to hit this next minor area, right? And if it doesn't, it's going to at least hit our first take profit because we won't hold for 250 pips. We'll hold for a little less than that, so that way we secure it and we're good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in real quick. As you guys can see, move this back down. We bounced off perfectly right at this trend line. We're on an uptrend right now. This is retesting below this trend line again. So if I zoom in, you can see it's doing exactly what Euro and ZD did, and it's retesting this area. Okay, so it's already closed twice below, but I don't want to sell this yet because I still want to see this actually break this lower area. Okay, I actually have a sell stop underneath this previous wick to make sure that it's actually going to continue pushing and not wick up again. Okay, because it could just wick up a third time and then we could see this major uptrend. Okay, now it already broke the major area, but it never retested. So that's why we're waiting for this breakdown here in continuation. Okay, if it could come up here, retest, then break, retest, and then come down. Okay, but we wouldn't see that till next week, obviously, because it's going into Friday, and that many moves wouldn't happen going into Friday, right? So waiting on this to break right here. We'll mark that real quick. Okay, I just want to see a break right at this area. When it breaks that area, I have a sell stop to continue right down to this point right here. Okay, again, look left, support, support, support. Okay, if you look over here, support area, this line down here, support, all up here, all areas of support or resistance, right? With these major areas, they're just bigger support resistance than other areas, right? So now we're going to go the 4 hour, and we're going to look to see what it's been doing. Okay. So we're going to delete this. Okay. So we still got our trend line. We didn't have to draw a new one this time because it's still near it. And it's been retesting underneath that trend line for several hours, right? Actually a full almost 2 days, right? So it's been retesting under this area for a while now. We don't want to jump in yet because it's obviously been wicking back and forth. Gold is extremely volatile, so it could go one way or the other. I know gold's obviously weakening, so we're looking for the downside, but we want to make sure and be confirmed before we get in, right? Especially since it's a higher risk, but also a higher reward. Okay. So again, this blue box right here is just me highlighting the area where it was the full resistance, right? So it's been closing inside, it broke, okay, closed inside. We waited till it retested here, sold, right? Didn't retest, so we couldn't have got in that one. Over here, broke through. Now it's retesting, okay? But we want to have a little more confirmation that this is actually going to continue pushing. So I just have a little sell stop below here, a quick scalp, nothing too big. I just want to see one more big push like this. Okay, if we can get that one big push, that'll already hit my sell stop and that take profit as well that we have. Okay, so Joe may call that trade out tonight. I'm not sure. I'm gonna let him do that if he wants to call it out. Because it is gold, and we don't want you guys trading with small accounts on gold. Okay, I know Patrick's going to be in it, but he's got a little bigger account. I'm going to be in it, but I've been experienced in trading a while, and I'm used to either winning or losing, so it doesn't matter to me, and I'm just looking to simply get into the right setup. Right, I'm not worried about really the risk. I'm ready for the reward. So next, what was my other pair? Okay, UJ. Okay, so this is going to be the other pair that I look at tonight. This is actually what I had marked up already. Delete this. Okay. And then after I mark up, or after I go over this chart real quick, guys, I will open up the mic for questions that you guys may have, and then we can go over the Harmonic Scanner and the Web Analyzer as well, because I've been using both of those to my advantage. You guys have probably seen Justin using the Harmonic Scanner to his advantage too. And crazy thing is Justin used to struggle in trading, and the Harmonic Scanner has really, really helped him and Angelina to profit tremendously using just basically like swipe trades, copy paste, right? But you want to look for those confirmations, and I'll show you exactly what to look for on the scanner other than just the entries they give you, right? So real quick, this obviously was following the support resistance areas very, very cleanly. This was following our trend line very nicely. This trend line up here, okay, there's always going to be another trend line, boom, boom. We had our third bounce right here. We did get a drop, but it came back into our area, right? And did what? It just kept consolidating in between these two zones, okay? So when it was consolidating, when this was consolidating, what happens is that you'll eventually get a breakout, right? So you eventually get what this is up here. This is your breakout, but unfortunately it didn't retest. It almost did, but you probably missed it. Okay, we'll zoom in real quick so you guys can see that. Okay, again, it barely missed it. This is a 4-hour chart, but it's UJ, so it's probably not even 30 pips. Yeah, it's not even 10 pips. So I missed it by about 10 pips. Okay, you could have got in on this wick probably. because there is, remember, support resistance areas on the hour. We're on the 4 hour right now. We went on the day and the week to get our major and minors. They were already marked up, but on here, when this retested, it retested what area, right? It missed it a little bit, but it retested this major quarter point, right? So since it broke, what happened, right? When it broke, now it's been simply coming up here. Our first take profit would have been our first area of resistance, which would have been in this area. Okay, this would have been our first take profit if we got in this buy. And our second TP would have been where? Right at our next area of resistance, which was this QP minor, right? For the full 250 pips. Because remember, from a major to a minor, it's 250 pips. You're in, you're out, right? Now, that's obviously going to take a little while being UJ. It could be a couple days. It could be a week, right? Depending on how news is working also in your favor, because a lot of U.S. news comes out and Japanese yen news comes out as well, like crazy during the week. So it just depends on how those are working in your favor. You got to be cautious with those. But we would move our stop loss up into profit as we're going and trail it, so we'd be good to go. So if we did call out this trade, we've obviously already be up about 85 pips. Okay, that would have been our first take profit, would have been that 90 area, that 90 pip area. And then our second take profit would have been that 250 pip area, right? So we already secured the bag. We can use the other money that we just made to leverage and hold to this position up here. Or if it retested in this area right here, we could have got back in, right, for a second entry after we already secured the bag on the first. Okay. So then all we needed was that retest right there, continuation of the uptrend because of that retest. We got our second entry, and now you not only caught the 90 here, the 250 up here, but you also got back in here, and you caught another 160 some pips, right? So you were able to just wait on your confirmations, wait on your retest. Support and resistance is huge, especially on the higher time frames. If you can catch it, you can make a lot of money. So next, one thing I wanted to share real quick. Where was it? Oh, this is what I want to share. So as you guys can see down here, this is your first area where this finally started reversing, right? Way down here. So if you go to the day chart, okay, from just up here, right, we made it all the way down to our second major point. So right here, if you would have got in, I mean, this obviously is rare that this would happen, and you would have held for like months, almost like over a year, right? Close to. But you would have caught your full 2,000 pips, right? Because look, my point is that it literally just broke and retested the major area, came down here, broke and retested several times for that major area, okay? And where did it go right after it retested? Came up here, almost went all the way back up to this major area and came back down, right? But these areas are all, you can see all the areas that this retested at and came down, okay? Here's another one right here. Someone's using a web analyzer. Get it. So it broke here, retested. I figured it was you, Justin. Okay. Broke and retested this area right here, another minor, right? But it keeps retesting the areas of minor and major quarter points, okay? So you don't have to use these, but what I like to do is I like to just mark them up, and then I can trade in between them as I go. right? I can scalp the market or get in the smaller trend while I still wait for these major areas to pop up. Okay, now we're near, let's say we're near a minor or major area now. And now we can start looking, okay, let's say we get up here, we can start looking for that major reversal, right? That big reversal or that big continuation up. Either way, if it retests here, we're getting 250 pips. If it retests here, we're getting 250 pips, right? You're not guaranteed the whole 250 because it could obviously reverse on you. There's a lot of news that comes out, everything that fluctuates markets, but you can secure the bag and trail your stop all the way up. And 90% of the time, you're going to hit that, whether it takes a day, a week, it could take a month, right? If you're trading AED, it's going to take like 2 months. But it just depends. And once you get those areas, you'll be able to easily get into a no drawdown trade, and your risk reward is very, very nice. Okay. So I'm going to open this up real quick to questions. I'm going to mute you all real quick. All right, I think everyone is unmuted. All right, so real quick, guys, preferably one at a time. But does anyone have any questions or a pair they want me to mark up or anything that you want me to cover and go over a little bit before we take over the Harmonic Scanner and Justin's baby, which is the web analyzer?
I think I have a minor question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So when you're marking up your chart there, I get the QP major, but tell me what factors come in with the QP minor. How did you know to place it there?
Okay, so for UJ, for example, I can actually just delete. I can delete it. We'll just. So for UJ, for example, when we found our majors, okay, you got those correct. You said those are understandable. The 110, the 120. Okay, that's 1,000 pips. Now, in between that, in order to find those areas, all you're going to simply do is I just put 3 lines on my chart right away. Okay, so I'll just automatically put 3 lines, and then it'll be every 250 pips in between that area, right? Gotcha. So 110, and then you're looking at, okay, what's 250 pips added to the 110, right?
360.
What?
360.
Okay, so the key to that, though, is this right here. Okay, remember, 110 and 120 are your majors, right? So in between that is going to be your 112, your 113, your 115, obviously, right? So now all you're not counting this pipette, and you're just going to be counting 250 pips from these last 3 numbers right here. From the last, I don't count the last one. These 3 numbers.
Oh, right.
So that area. So you're going to put, okay, what is 250 from the 110? And you're just going to look at this and be like, okay, well, 250 pips from here. And even if you don't know, you can just literally take your measuring tool and go up and be like, okay, this is 250 right around this area. So since it's 250 around that area, it'd be 112.50.
Gotcha. Okay, right? There we go.
And then what's the next one? Well, 250 plus 250 is 500, right? Yep. Now you got your 5.00, right? Now you're at 115.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your next 250. Then what is it? Now you got to add 500 to 250. That's 750, right? So now you have your 250 pips here, okay? And then your next 250 obviously gets you to 120, which would be your next major area, right? So for some pairs, it's going to be a little different. So for this one, this is obviously just a 1 point. It's only at $1.71 area, right? So since it's at $1.71, all you're going to simply do is I put it at $1.70 for my major, and $1.80 is your major, right? And then check, okay, that's 1,000 pips. Now you add your 3 lines in between that, and you're going to look for where your minor areas are, right? Where your 250 pips is. Okay, so how I found that is, again, you don't use the last number because that's a pipette. And now this one's a little easier because you're still going to stay in the 1.7 area, right? So you get to 1.8. So it's just going to be 1.7250, 1.7500, and then 1.7750, and then you're at your $1.80. Right? So right.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that, man. That makes a whole lot more sense.
Not a problem, not a problem. And this is recorded, by the way, guys, so that way you can get back on here. And I labeled this right here so you guys know the 250 pip mark and the 1,000 pip. Measuring tools right here, so make sure you use that to your advantage just to double check that you're right, or send me screenshots and I can easily tell you if you're right or wrong. Right? The one thing I do know is how to count pips. For some reason, that's like my forte on this. So with gold is a little different on this. So if you zoom in real quick, this is obviously a major area right here. Okay, so this was 1,300, and then your other major area was simply just 1,400. Right? How did I get that? Because you don't count the last number, but you count these 4, right? So again, you're counting the second. You're counting not the first, not the last. Hold on one sec, guys. If you can't hear me, it's because people are walking by. So 1,300 and 1,400 is your major, and then the 250 pip mark again is just going to be, okay, you're at 13, so you got 13 again, but you got 13,250, 13,500, and then what's your next one? 13,750, and then it got you all the way to. Oh, that's why you guys can see. I wasn't on the day, my bad. Then it got you to your other major, which was your 1,400 area. Okay. Some pairs you have to go literally to like the week in order to actually see them. So these ones, yep. So right here you got QP major, QP major. The only reason there's minors below here is because obviously there's going to be minors in between this 1,000 pip as well. So 1,300, your other 1,000 pip mark would be what? 1,200, right? 1,200 would be your other major. Okay, so if you mark this, I'm going to say 1,200. Excuse me. Okay. QP major. Okay. Now you got your 250, 500. Where's your 750 right here? What's your 750? Or well, what's another 250 pip mark in between this minor and this major? Because there's 500 pips right here. So what's this next line going to be? We're currently at 1,200 and
Should be 500.
what?
Should be 12.500.
12.500 is right here. So what's in between that 1,200 and that 12,500?
Oh, another 250.
Yep, perfect. Yep. So you're going to be at 12,250 right here. Okay. So this one's obviously typed a little different, but you're just like 12,250, and then you got your 0. Okay. Oh, we'll label it. Beautiful. Okay. So now you got your major areas. So remember, these always bounce. Like look at how much this bounced across this whole area. Okay, bounce, bounce, bounce. Up here again, bounce, bounce, bounce. Right? Sometimes it'll break through, obviously. But even when it breaks through, all you get is what? You get your retest of an area, right? So right here, it retested not only a trend line, but it retested this QP minor. And then it continued up to this QP minor, actually like this blew through it. Yep, hit this, blew through it, and continued all the way to this major. And actually, even if you didn't have, let's say you didn't have a take profit, you're just trailing, it blew through it again, went to this minor, so now you're up 500 pips. Well, actually, you're up 750, right? Because it's all the way right here, retested. You're already up 750, and then it blew through that and eventually closed right here. You're up 1,000 pips, right? And 1,000 pips on gold, we all know, is a lot of money, even on 10 cents a pip, right? Because 10 cents a pip on gold is like $1 a pip. So it's crazy volatile, but it still moves exactly like everything else. If you mark it up correctly, you can still catch these major moves, right? I know I keep going back to it, but Patrick's just absolutely slaying it with crypto and gold. So it's been crazy seeing your markups as well. So, but right here, guys, as you can see, I mean, it had its one, had its two, okay, had two bounces. Usually we'll get a third. Okay, that's why I also want to wait till this breaks below or retest up here, because if it retest, we could see it come up here, come down, hit the third bounce, and then just blow up all the way up, right? So you just want to wait for your confirmations. But either way, gold, Euro NZD, UJ, whatever the pair is, they're all going to work the same as long as you mark it up correctly. Okay, you don't need the major and minor quarter points, but they are really, really helpful for finding areas that you may have to get out at, or you can potentially get a very long trade in, right? Some pairs like GBP, JPY, and all those pairs, you may catch your 250 pips in 2 candles, right? But they're a little more volatile and you have a little more risk. It's not going to be like a 30 pip risk. It's going to be a 50 pip risk, right? Because there's 50 pips usually a candle in GJ. So does anyone else have any questions before I go over the harmonic scanner? I'm guessing that's no. All right, give me one sec, guys. I just gotta answer this text. All right, so next thing to go over is the harmonic scanner, okay? Oh, I love how clean this is. All right, so this may look a little chaotic at first, right? You don't need these Bollinger Bands like I have. I just like them for another confirmation. Okay, I'll usually take this and I'll just take it as like a confirmation, go to my trading view, right? And that's where I actually just mark up my chart so it actually looks pretty clean like this, and it doesn't confuse anyone else, and it doesn't confuse myself, right? But I will use this as a confirmation, and I just want to simply show you guys exactly what I'll do using IML, right? So real quick, if you go in here, all right, so if you go to trading, you go to the IML Academy, and you go to the technical analysis tab with Christopher Derrick. It's actually going to go over the confirmation checklist, which you guys should have already watched already. Okay, so confirmation checklist. Okay, just clicking on this. I do recommend watching this if you haven't already. Please go back to this. I stay on this tab. Like this section, I probably watch every single week, right? I know support resistance. I know price reversal zones and pullbacks and trend lines, but I do like to make sure that mine are like, I don't want to say a perfect markup, but pretty dang close, right? And if you're going to look for perfect markups, Christopher Derrick is your guy, right? He'll keep your chart extremely clean and will give you naked Forex, which is pretty much just 3 lines on your chart, no indicators, and you just know exactly where the market is most likely going to go, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but the market does move very, very cleanly if you mark it up correctly. Okay, so support resistance, trend line, price reversal zone, and the pullback. Okay, so we're going to put that on our chart real quick. Okay, so if you go here, we're just going to type it up. And oh, it's going to make me do it one by one. Son of a gun.
Oh, I'm about to die.
What? Did you just say he's about to die and left the call? All right. So, okay. Apparently we got to do this one by one. Okay. But we're going to do it anyways. What was our next one? Boom, trend line. Hopefully I spell these right. Not really. Okay. Now we got price reversal zone. And our last one, which is pullback, I believe.
Yep.
All right. So now real quick, on this confirmation checklist, okay, we'll type that right here just so everybody knows it when they watch the recording. Okay. All right. So confirmation checklist. Now, how do you use this with the scanner as your confirmation? Right now, you already have your entry points, right? So we're gonna actually we're gonna take off some of these indicators just so you guys can see. We'll just take up those arrows because those are confusing. All right. So now with these confirmation checklist, all you're gonna simply do, I actually spelled this one wrong already. There we go. All right. So with this confirmation checklist, all you're simply going to do is you're going to be like, okay, support resistance. Where in the market is this going, right? This is on an uptrend, right? So we're just looking for an area where can this reverse at when it comes to a resistance, right? Because it's looking for a sell, so we're looking for potential resistance, okay? Now, it's obviously right at that green line as one of your, usually the entry is going to be at a support or resistance already. But I'm going to go ahead and change the color so you guys can actually see this a little better. And we're just going to make it black. All right. That boy going off like crazy, Justin.
Let me turn it off, bro.
No, you good. I love hearing the money sign. I don't know who wouldn't. All right. So another area, we're just going to put it right there. Okay, and now we're going to highlight it. See if it'll let us. It's going to let us, obviously, so that way you can still read what pair we're on. It's going to just do that, but it's fine. It'll get my point across. So now you have your resistance, right? You got your resistance up here. We're going to go ahead and just label this as number 1. Okay, so you got your 1. Perfect. Now we got to go for number 2. Where's your trend line? Okay, you got your trend line. There's not really a trend right here. Okay, there isn't a really big trend. I mean, you can like try and draw a trend line here, but it's not really, I wouldn't really say that's too much of a trend. We're going to delete that and go with the other one. Especially since the market's already moved. I don't know if I can even delete this. I can't see it. Wait. All right, so we're just going to leave that. All right, so where's your other trend line? You got to darken that boy. Beautiful. All right, so we got a little bit of a trend line here, but remember our major trend line, where is my other chart? Remember, we still have this bigger trend line right here, right? We still have this major area that it's been bouncing off of. Remember, boom, 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 boom. And then we had our retest below the trend line up here. All right, we'll zoom in to see that real quick one more time. The retest below, perfect. Okay, so we got that confirmation. You can just go back to your, you can easily just go right back to your trading view if you need a cleaner markup or just confirmation that that's actually a trend line. Okay, but I wanted this trend line real quick simply because of the fact that 1, you know you're on an uptrend still, and 2, you can wait for what? You can wait for your confirmation on a break of this trend line. Okay, and now that this already fell, we're going to look real quick at where your support is. Okay, you got 1 here. We're going to put 1 right there, and then we'll highlight. Okay, now we're going to put a 2. Okay, now we got our support resistance, we got our trend line. Now we're looking for a price reversal area, right? Now this already reversed up here, but what I want to see, I like price reversal and pullback as like pretty much something that goes like hand in hand to me. I like to see where it just simply breaks an area and then retests. So I don't really use a price reversal zone. What I'll use is I'll use break and retest, right? Which is pretty much that pullback, okay? So I want to see this break down here. I want to see this break below. I want to see this come back up. And then I want to see this continue. Oh, come on. And I want to see this continue all the way to TP2. Okay. We won't get greedy. We'll get out before that. Like I said, 170, $1.70 is actually where our take profit is anyways, because that's a major support, right? So we want to be out of the market beforehand. We're going to put Circle's not gonna work, it's fine. Okay, but we got our confirmation. We're gonna put a 3 right at this area because that's gonna be our price reversal zone, but I'll relabel that in a sec because I actually like something a little better. Okay, label this one and put in here break / retest. Okay, so now we got that, and then we're just simply waiting for this to pull back up and give us our confirmation for number 4. Okay, so we just want to put, we want to see number 4 around this area right here, around the 3. And that's going to be our other confirmation. Those are going to be our 4 confirmations that not only does this have a good entry up here, okay, but you can still get back in around take profit 1. Okay, after take profit 1, it's not technically considered, so they say, a pattern anymore. But Gartley is very, very accurate. I'll show you a couple that did hit that were not even Gartley, and I mean they hit. Like you held them for NZD CAD, for example. You may have held that for 2 months, but you made 725 pips with a 10 pip drawdown, right? So the scanner is very, very powerful. I wish Renell was on here because he's been using the scanner to his advantage like crazy. And so is Justin Ford as well. And the scanner is just absolutely powerful, but you need to know how to use it because you can't just rely on just the entries that they have, right? You may get a better entry or you may miss the entry and then just need to find one, right? You don't want to chase the market, so you got to wait on that retest. You got to wait on your confirmations, okay? So this is just the scanner. I'm going to show you NZD CAD real quick that you could have caught. This is just ridiculous. You had a 0 pip drawdown. It's still going to TP3, but after TP2, I will not get in the market. I will just let it figure its life out and do whatever, right? I won't get in. But you had about an 8 pip drawdown, okay? Or you waited on the pullback in your confirmations, if you did it correctly, right? And you caught 708 pips right now, right? Even on this pullback, you could still stay in if you wanted to, but I would get out if it closed like this on this candle, right? That would be my confirmation just to get out. That's my sign of reversal. Or you would have got out here thinking it was reversing and it just dropped back down, right? But either way, no way we would have held this trade for 2 months unless you are a swing trader. So just make sure you guys are extremely cautious. But if you do want to swing trade, just follow your stop loss all the way down in profit, right? Because profit is profit. Even you catch 10 pips, that's still good, right? So make sure you guys just follow your stop loss all the way down, trail it with you as you go if you don't want to put a take profit. But if you do put a take profit, first one, I would just put at your next support, your next resistance. And then your second one can be at CP 1 or 2, right? Your major areas. Because I never go any lower than the 4 hour in the day on this scanner. You can go on the hour, but just make sure that if it's on the hour and the 4 hour on here, they're going the same direction, right? So this one missed the entry up here, right? It had its pullback. But with this very engulfing candle right here, I would be concerned that this could easily come all the way back up, retest here, and then come back down and have an engulfing, right? This is a very, very engulfed candle. So be cautious for selling AED CAD, especially since it's also a slow pair. This is actually, I mean, not even that many pips for being an engulfing candle. It's 20 pips, right? On GJ, that would have been like 150. So just be cautious there. Next thing, what are we going to do? Web analyzer, right? Justin's bread and butter.
get everything free now, Greg.
What? What'd you say?
Oh, never mind, bro.
I'm trying to not cut this. I'm trying to not cut this call early, but my brother's in the hospital, I guess. All right, guys. So real quick, we're gonna go over this, and then I gotta take off. But for the web analyzer, all I'll simply do is I'll do the snapback strategy. Okay, so we're gonna snap back. All those are good.
Dark mode, bro.
What?
Put it in dark mode.
Dark mode. We're going dark. Oh, wow. All right. So I want to change this real quick. Just darken that. Okay, I like to make my length 13. My RSI, I just put at 68 and 32. Okay. The reason being is because we're going to use only the 15 and the 30 minute. Well, or 15 and the 5 minute. Sorry. 15 and the 5 minute on the web analyzer, right? So with the snapback, you're going to just look for a couple things. We're going to change this to real quick. This is going to be 15 to okay, volume. We don't even need this. We need the other thing though. I like to use moving average exponential. It's already on 9, so you don't gotta worry about that, but I do like to darken it so that way you can actually see it. Okay. Make sure you know where the market's actually going to move. Now, with this 15, okay, this is actually a perfect example of the snapback right here, right? With a snapback, all you're going to simply do is you're going to look for 2 areas that this hit the Bollinger Bands, and then an area where it's also divergent, right? But you want to look for, they always teach you to go for 3 pips, but what Joe actually came up with and what I really like is the fact that we actually reverse that method. We have a 3-pip stop loss, and then we just don't put a take profit and we trail it all the way up, right? So right here, this is actually a good example. I'm only going to do one of these guys because I do got to go. My brother's in the hospital. He's not dying, but I just need to go up there. Right here. Okay, so I like to use those lines just to show where the market's actually at, right? And now I want to simply look for divergence, and I want to look for my snapback, right? So you got 1 point here. You got another point right here where it touched on the corner. There's your snapback area, right? Now you're looking for divergence, okay? We're definitely going to change this because I can't see it. Okay, so with divergence, it doesn't always have to go in the opposite direction. The market just has to be, it can just be steeper, right? The move can be steeper on the chart than your RSI is. So with your relative strength index is not as steep as what this chart is, right? That shows a sign of reversal coming. Okay, not only that, but you had a close right here on this small candle. You had to close back inside the Bollinger Bands. That's what you want to see with the start of this snapback, right? Now we have to look, is our risk reward going to be good enough, right? is it only going to be like a 3-pip risk for us to be able to get in this market and actually catch a good move, right? So, where's the, okay. Now, we might have actually gotten, unless you, let's say we just waited for this candle, right? We waited for this green candle, pull back in. We're going to put right here, okay? Entry is right there. We'll make this red because that's our stop loss. Okay, now we got to check. Is this only 3 pips? You're around 5, right? So I would take this trade because it did give us our confirmations, but you just want to make sure now that it's a 5-pip risk, you want to take maybe your lot size down just a tad bit because you're risking a little more, right? Oh, my battery's going to die anyway, so I do got to get off it for this one. But you got a 5-pip risk. Now you're in this trade. It never came back down, right? It never closed back below. And now, since it engulfed all the way up here, you're going to simply just keep moving your stop loss, right? You're going to move your stop loss into profit. So let's say it's all the way up here. Now you're going to move your stop loss to right about here, right? Which it would have hit. It would have stopped you out, right? But you may have been able to get back in when it crossed up here. And all you did was move it up here. Move your stop loss right here, and it stopped you out again, right? But that whole move right there, you risked 5 pips. You caught 10 here, so you had a risk reward of like 2 to 1, but you wouldn't have known that, right? And then up here, if you caught that, that would have been a total of 24 pips. So you caught about 12 on the second one, 10 on the first. You're good to go, right? You caught your 24 pips. You're good. Now instead of catching 3 pips, right, you're only risking 3 to 5 pips and you're catching 20 to 30 pips, right? But you're using the strategy they taught you. You're just not going in and out in 3 pips, right? You're actually getting a little bigger move so you can actually make some decent money, right? Not just $3, $1, $2, like, right? We want to make that decent money, but we want to make sure our risk reward isn't crazy, right? A lot of people are risking 20 pips to catch 3, which would be fine. But the thing is with the win-loss ratio even being really, really high, and you could win 98 trades out of 100, when you lose 2 trades on a 20 to 30 pip risk for only 3 pip take profit, you lose about 5 to 10 of your trades you just profited on already, right? We don't want to do that. So we just reversed it a little bit. We still use their method. We just only do a 3. We make sure the risk reward is very, very nice, right? You're not risking very much, but you could potentially make a killing, right? So I appreciate you guys hopping on this call. Does anybody have any questions before I let you guys go? Because my phone or my laptop is about to die, and I got to get going to the hospital. So I appreciate you guys hopping on. Anyone got any questions? Oh, it's just Justin now. Justin, you got any questions?
Hey, just send me the settings. I think I got it though, bro. We good. I'm all set, bro. Take care, man.
All right, bro. I appreciate you hopping on, man.
Yes, sir. You have a nice one, man.
All right, bro.